The story of the Bride of the Nile, which our great ancestors were said to have thrown into the Nile as a human sacrifice to the Nile Lord. My love, until it overflows in abundance at the time of its next flood. This story was mentioned in the books of Islamic heritage by the historian bin Abdul Hakam. Then she was cinematically embodied in the famous movie Bride of the Nile. And in order to be sure that this is a lie that forms awareness, we must hear the opinion of people on the street when they watch this movie and then ask them about our ancestors. What do you think of them? The shocking answer, "Oh, Uncle Abdul, they were mighty infidels, they used to throw daughters waking in the Nile." But when we go back to the papyrus and the Westcar and see the story of King Khufu with the priest Didi and the priest River for the king when he wanted to conduct an experiment that might be fatal for a prisoner. And when we read together, the book of Exodus of Light and Nahur is the book of the dead, which includes a chapter on the denial of sins. I have not killed a soul. The soul has the right to life. Human sacrifices did not exist in ancient Egypt in any way. But because the influence of cinema is greater than any books and faster, the grandchildren have become disowned by grandparents because of falsehoods that have no validity and no evidence for them. Ben Abd al-Hakam, there is no evidence for the validity of his words. On the contrary, we have evidence of the falsehood of his claim. The ancient Egyptian civilization valued the human being, the spirit, and it gave life a value that must be preserved. One of the stories of beautiful Egyptian literature in the era of the Middle Kingdom or at the end of the era of the First Transition. Part of the story of King Khufu with the priest Didi. It is said that he used to live during the reign of King Khufu, an old wizard named Didi, who arrived at the age of 110 years. It is said that this magician used to eat 500 loaves of bread every day and an ox's thigh of meat and drank 100 pots of beer. And it was said that Didi was able to return the severed head of a living being to its place to live again, and know how to make the lion walk behind him, follow him without a leash. He also knew the secret of the secrets of the temple of Nidrathoth, the entrainment of wisdom and knowledge. So Khufu sent him his son, Hordaf, to attend him, as Khufu was eager to learn the secrets of the galleries pertaining to the temple of Thoth. When they arrived at the great palace of King Khufu, Khufu, greeted him warmly and asked him why he had not attended before, so the priest said that he would only attend when he was summoned. So, Khufu asked him about his abilities to return the severed head to its place and about his knowledge of the secret of the locks of the temple of Thoth. So Didi, said, he can return the severed heads and that the shutters are in the temple of Amun in one of its halls, and the only one who can attend is the 3 eldest children of their mother of Ra. So, Khufu ordered a prisoner to be brought in for the experiment, but the priest, Didi, shook his feelings for this unfortunate act, and the King River tried to prevent him from this idea, so he said to him, "Do not kill a human being. It is forbidden to experiment with such things on a human being, and it is good to try them on livestock." So they brought him a goose and cut its head and put the body on the western side and the head on the eastern side, so he moved her body and head until they came together. And they repeated the same experience with a duck and then a bull, and the priest, Daddy, succeeded in all this. This part of the story has connotations despite the exaggerations it contains, including the information narrated about the nature of the priest, Didi. But we can extract from it the important indications, namely, 1. That human sacrifice is something forbidden, unacceptable, and emotionally shaken by it. 2. Killing without cause was forbidden even for kings. 3. The king's will and desires were not absolute, but conditional on their legitimacy, according to the Mott law. 4. It is possible to object to the decisions of the kings if they are unlawful. 5. Despite the rumors that King Khufu was a mighty man, a peasant person broke his orders and corrected his opinions. Notes: 1. This story was taught in schools attached to the temples, Albar, Ankh, due to the state's concern for the teachings of respect for the human being, even if it was at the expense of the king's authority. 2. Even if the story did not actually happen, and it was woven by an Egyptian writer, fiction literature reflects the moral perfection of the state. 3. When we compare the facts of this story with what was happening from the Roman emperors 2,000 years after this time of throwing captured warriors into fights and massacres to death just for fun, we found a huge difference and the dangerous retreat that afflicted mankind in the Roman period from it in the Egyptian civilization period and what he was doing Canaanite and Semitic peoples. Civilization is not only an advance in the artistic, architectural, and scientific field. Civilization is an elevation in human morals. Mott was and still is the solution.